The story of a famous chef who has to obey the orders of the restaurant owner all the time until he can't cook the menu as he wants. So he decided to resign and become his own boss by opening a food truck to show the point of view in return to prove the taste of delicious food for everyone to taste in the story Chef. First of all, we will meet Chef Casper. He is a regular chef of a famous restaurant, and he has a cook or assistant named Mart. Today, there will be a famous food reviewer tasting the food at this restaurant. The chef intends to create a new menu in case he likes it, but the restaurant owner, who knows the story, does not agree. Order to do only the same menu no matter what Chef Casper explains. The restaurant owner uses his power to persuade him to do it. After work, the chef and his assistant named Molly continue to eat. At that time, Chef Casper read the review after the judge tasted the food at the restaurant, but after reading it, there was only indignation, not a word. It made the chef and his assistant stressed. Molly came to comfort the chef that he could cook the most delicious food, and it looks like they are studying each other's hearts. A few days later, Chef Casper came to his ex-wife's house, and her name is Inez. She is a high school teacher who has a housemaid who serves as a nanny. One week, he will have time for his child, Percy. Only one day, which makes the child feel sad. Often next, after being heavily criticized, the stressed chef came up with a new menu code. Martin, who came to see, talked about Twitter, but the chef still doesn't understand. Before tasting his new menu, Martin called another friend to taste, but this friend talked about Twitter again. It looks like there will be something. When he saw that the chef still didn't understand, they hurriedly changed the story. A few days later, Percy said that he liked the time he spent with his father. He asked his father to go back to his house as usual. The chef explained his situation to Percy so that the child could understand, before promising that next month he would take his Percy to New Orleans. And he also asked his son to sign up for Twitter and teach him to play again. And that night, the chef only read Twitter about his story all night. He couldn't stand it and wrote a complaint to that critic that he couldn't get the taste of food, but he didn't know how to play and didn't know that the message was public. Until that morning, Percy told his father that his father's Twitter had thousands of followers, and the critic also shared his father's post by searching for harsh words to scold him. The next day, the chef complained to Martin and his friends, but Martin didn't want him to pay too much attention to social media. But he didn't listen. Before he was a keyboard player, he tweeted to that critic to come back to eat here again, and he will make a great dish like morning will never forget. Then he visited Inez's family. She asked him to sell food trucks because she didn't want to worry or bother him, and she praised Casper for making the best food in the city. But no matter how much she praised him, he didn't care because he thought that was too low. The next day, the chef came back to cook and wait for the critic, but the owner of the hotel came in and complained again, which of course, he ordered the chef to make the same menu as he had done for 10 years. And the owner only spoke on behalf of the critic and said that if the chef made a new menu tonight, he could leave the restaurant. And when he heard that, the chef didn't hesitate and walked out, and none of his trainees followed him, so he wished Martin and his friends good luck. That night, the chef took him to cook until his hands were shaking. When this critic arrived, he asked the chef Casper first. The owner of the hotel had to excuse that he had to leave in a hurry. After that, the hot-headed chef came back to cook at home peacefully, and he served every dish happily without anyone ordering him back. To the critic, he posted a tweet again that the chef didn't meet the request, but the chef didn't agree, so he went back to the restaurant again, stood up, and scolded the critic until he turned into a dog. The people in the restaurant recorded a video of it until it became viral, and since then, Casper has become a serious jobless person. But he is still stubborn, didn't listen to the advice from far away, and he still doesn't want to take his son on a trip. Many days later, the chef came to drink with his son. Martin apologized that he didn't follow the chef that day. Casper didn't get angry and said it was his choice. Molly said it was time for him to rest and go back to his father's job and decide his own life. Both of them hugged each other. Molly promised that she would keep this good friendship forever. The next morning, the chef hurried to see his son at home, but the angry son refused to meet him. Inez said she would take her son to visit Crab in Miami. She asked her ex-husband to take care of her son together. When he wanted to make up with his son, he decided to go with her. After arriving in Miami, the three came to one of the bars, where Crab is a singer here. The father and mother had fun with the music. They danced all the time. Percy was very happy to see that. After work, Crab asked if they were back together, but the chef didn't know, so he had to let Inez translate for him. While eating, the chef began to open his heart. He said that sometimes he might have to try selling food on road food truck. Inez heard that and smiled, before saying that she had already made an appointment with someone, which seems to be her plan to lure him here. That morning, the chef came to see the person that Inez had made an appointment with. This man's name is Marvin. and he used to be Inez's ex-boyfriend, and even though they used to be her ex-boyfriend, they still get along well. Marvin, who is very rich, gave her an old food truck. Next, Inez and her son came to see the chef's car. He asked her if she had ever slept with Marvin. She said yes without thinking, and she was surprised that he could flirt with Molly. Before they argued, Inez had to tell the truth, that she and Marvin never flirted, because they both knew they could only be friends. Then Percy helped clean the food truck, but the tired and smelly son threw one pan away. The chef who saw it was so angry that he yelled at his son. He said that being a chef, he had to do everything in the kitchen, but Percy didn't understand, and he saw that his father was a mean person. When he calmed down, he came to his son and took him to buy kitchen utensils. He taught his son everything and told him to take good care of the knife, because the knife is the most valuable asset of being a chef. And while the chef and Percy were helping lift the food truck, Martin came to see him in Miami and told him that he had kept his promise, that he would follow and be a chef's assistant everywhere. And even though the chef was happy, but he had to refuse him because he didn't have money to hire Martin, but Martin was happy to help without expecting a penny. The chef, who was so kind to him, was grateful to him. Then Martin called the workers to help lift the food and told them that the chef would make a sandwich for everyone. It's called buying strength with food. Then the chef took his son with him to the market to prepare a sandwich for the workers, and they put the food on the truck for the first time. The son who saw it complained that it was easier to buy at the mall, but when he tasted it, Percy shouted out that he wanted to eat again. The chef taught his son how to make a sandwich burger, and Percy quickly learned from his father, and the more he learned, the more he praised his father. Whatever he did was delicious. Then the workers lined up to receive the sandwich from them. Martin complimented that the chef looked happier than ever, but the son refused. He said he didn't see anything to be happy about, because these people came to eat for free, didn't pay us any money. The chef called his son to teach that he may not be a good father or husband, but the only thing he thinks he can do well is to be a chef, and he wants to share all this time with his son, whether it's good or bad. Because of that, little Percy began to understand a little, and said that he would learn everything from his father. That night, the chef and Martin planned to drive this truck back to LA and will sell things on the way to make a living. Percy, who heard it, would go with his father, but he was afraid that his son would be in trouble, so he accused his mother of not letting him go. Percy showed his father that his mother had allowed him, and Martin proposed that he would go to the market tomorrow and take the truck to decorate a little more, without him taking care of the expenses. That morning, Martin drove the truck to pick up the chef and his son by the new food truck that was more popular than ever, which Inez was happy with her husband's intention. Then this truck started running out of Miami, and little Percy began to take photos and post them on social media for his father before they went to sell at South Beach. And Martin announced to the customers that this is the most delicious Cuban food. Tourists from that area came in line. Everyone wanted to try new things, and Percy was a full-time assistant to his father. The three people who saw a lot of customers did not get tired. While the sales were good, there was a skeptic who came to check the documents, but he remembered the video that was viral of the chef, so he took a couple of photos and kept them in every corner. Then the three chefs set off on their journey. Little Percy was in charge of spreading the news. Where are they going next? Which he complained to his father that he took videos every day. Then they traveled to New Orleans. The chef took his son for a walk, find delicious food to eat as promised. But when they got back to the food truck, they saw that there were people in line waiting to buy their food, which the chef didn't want to believe his own eyes. Little Percy said that he was the one who invited the customers, until the chef was shocked, complaining to the customers non-stop. Then they continued their journey and stopped by a small concert hall. At that time, Inez called because she was worried about her son. The chef promised that he would take good care of his son, and when he was going to hang up the phone, he just said he loved her, until Percy and Martin were confused. After the sale was over, the chef and Percy sat down to talk. He said that the past 2 weeks had been, he was very happy that his son was with him, but after this, when it came to LA, he wouldn't let his son suffer like this again. Percy, who heard that, wouldn't give up. He wanted to help his father as usual, so he said that he didn't want to disappoint his son again. Next to LA, the chef took his son back home. Little Percy hugged his father with longing. The father promised to pick up his son to travel every day as usual. While Inez was waiting for her son, she waved to her husband happily, and when the chef came to his house, he watched the video that his son recorded every day. Throughout the journey, when he finished watching, he called his son immediately and said that he would let his son be a helper every day after school, and he would let me pay for snacks. And since then, Inez came to help receive orders and let his son help after school. At that time, the same food reviewer came to talk to the chef, and both were satisfied. The July food reviewer felt guilty about what happened and said that he wanted to be the investor for the chef. 6 months later, the chef had his own restaurant because he agreed to invest with the food reviewer, and today, his husband closed the restaurant to celebrate his success. He even hired Inez's father to play here. here and Chef Casper and his ex-wife came back to open their hearts again. With the sun as a double cue, this is the end of the movie that I would like to spoil today, which is taking yourself on a new path. No matter how difficult it is, it may lead you to find a better result. And this movie got a score from IMDb 7.3 stars, and as always, if you like it, don't forget to like it. See you in the next story. Goodbye.